Okay, so the KT-MIDI project is by Atsushi Ino, and it combines both MIDI 1 and MIDI 2 protocols in it. It's under active development, and I'd like to create a Java project with it because it's JVM based. Programmed in Kotlin, but it has Java compatibility. So I want to show you how to do that. So here's the GitHub page for the project, and there's a number of sub-projects in here. The one I want to baseline this on is KT MIDI JVM in here. Okay. And it turns out that the repository for this is available on the Maven repository, the Maven repo, and I've got KT MIDI JVM right here. I'm going to choose the latest version, 0.8.2. right here, and it has a bunch of files in it. The files I'm interested in are, I'm going to try the POM file right here, which is the sort of organizational file, and I'm going to grab that module, that jar, and that documentation jar. So the jars are the Java files, and the rest are support files. So I'm going to right-click on this. I'm going to say download linked file as. I'm going to go put it in downloads. And list, and then I need to have it by, there we go, temp fresh MIDI. I'm just going to put it in here. There's nothing else in this folder right here. That's the first file. Save the linked file as. I'm going to put it in the same folder. Next one. So I'm sure there's a more efficient way of doing this, but I'm going to do this explicitly until I have a better way of doing this. There's my module file, and then here is my POM file, the organization file. There we go. All right, so those are saved. And now I'm going to go back over into the file folder. And it looks like all the files are in there. Fantastic. So I've got my files in here. Now I'm going to go into IntelliJ, my Java development environment. Okay, so let's create a new project. And this isn't going to be the most efficient way to do it. I'm game to hearing from others to see how I could do this better. But I'm going to create a new project from existing sources like this. I have downloaded into this particular folder right here, and I'm going to say, yeah, I want these existing sources. I'm going to import the project from existing model. So what's my model in here? I got a POM in here. So I'm going to assume this is a Maven. Open with, let's take a look. I'm seeing Maven right there. Yeah, this looks like a Maven. That's a Maven project. So I'm going to import it using the external model Maven. I'm going to trust the project. And so basically it's going to create, or it has created, my project inside of the download folder. So if I go back into the download folder over here, it's in here. Now nothing else has been created, it looks like. So now I need to create a new let's see, either a directory or module. Well, let's try a Java class. Okay, so I'm going to go main class like this. I don't normally make my projects like this. Main like that, S out, hello world. Right? Now, if I was doing this correctly, I'd now be able to run it, but clearly my Java file is in the wrong place. So I want to create there we go. A new directory. This is what I was doing earlier. Okay. So I want to create a new directory in here, but because it knows that this is a Maven project, it's saying, well, there's only certain source directories that are permissible. In this case, I want source main Java to be created. There we go. So my main class over here didn't compile. It can't compile in its location at the top end of the project. So now I need to drag this over into source main Java like that. It asks if I want to put it into this folder and if I want to refactor, so just reorganize it. And I say yes. And now I have the basic standard file here. And if I go back into my file folder, I'll see that I now have a source folder in here as well. Okay, so it's been added to that folder. If I run this, it works. All right, so next I want to bring in a MIDI library. So I say import dev dot no, this isn't working. So I need, even though I have those files available in my project, they're not being recognized by the IDE for compilation. They will later get recognized during execution, but for compiling, they're not recognized. So I need to go to File, and I need to re-enter them. Project Structure, Libraries. Now I go plus, I say from Java, so I'm just adding in the jar files manually. I say I want this file, and you'll notice that it's pointing to my folder where I have these jar files right here. So I say open. Excellent. Next one, the sources. And I say okay. And then Java, and I want the Java doc. It'll ask me if it's a Java doc, and I say yes right here. And that's now in. Okay, so now I go import dev dot, there we go. KT MIDI, can I do it like this? No, dot star. And then here I'm going to say MIDI1 simple message as the class. My MIDI1 object, spell that right. New MIDI1 simple message, and I put in just arbitrary values for the 3 arguments. I have an object created at this point. Now what I want to do is print it out. Oops, hold on. I need to put this back inside of, I had it wrong. There, inside the main method. So s out, like this. Print line the MIDI1 object, like this. Plus my, so we're going to just print out something about the MIDI object itself, something characteristic about it. And now I should be able to run it like this. Bingo. So it prints out something, I don't know what this actually means, but it means fundamentally that I'm able to bring in the KT MIDI project into my Java development workflow in order to make it something interesting, something work. And so this is an example of using KT MIDI inside of a Java project in IntelliJ.